agree with me when I say that Elden Ring is the game where most people tend to use just one button while playing. Obviously, everyone has the right to play however they want, and I won't criticize your playstyle. However, if you try to use this same playstyle in an invasion, whether you're the invaded or the invader, I'm sorry to say it won't end very well. For those who aren't quite following, I'm not just going to talk about people who tend to spam weapon ashes of war, spells, enchantments, and so on. I'll also try to give tips on how to avoid these bad practices and increase your chances of getting wins against other players. Kind of like in the last video, which got a lot of support, and honestly, I'm really happy with how far it reached. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Once again, I want to clarify that this video isn't made to criticize, judge, or force you to change your playstyle. These are just tips I want to share based on what I've seen during my time playing as an invader in Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. So, with that said, let's start from the beginning and jump into the first chapter of this video. I've seen so many people who only seem to know the left trigger on their controller. It's as if their life and their run depend on pressing it and never using any other button, not even to roll. While this might work for you in single-player mode, I'm about 90% sure that it's not a great idea to do this in a multiplayer environment. Why? Because you're no longer fighting against artificial intelligence. You're up against players, and most of these players know how to play. Spamming might work if you're playing with your friends and they have your back, but what if they end up dying in the fight and you're left all alone? This is a pretty common situation, and it usually ends with the invader coming out on top. This can happen for several reasons, but the main one, which we all know, let's be honest, it's pretty obvious. The host doesn't know how to play, and in most cases neither do the summoned players. And come on! I don't expect the host to be at the level of Zielovsky, G9 or Chase Thebro, but I would at least expect them to know the basics that the game teaches you. Like rolling and waiting for an opening to attack your opponent. And I know not everyone likes or wants to be part of this aspect of the game, but wouldn't you like the satisfaction of beating that nasty red phantom thanks to your own skill when you get invaded? You don't need to spend hours or days practicing. Just take some time now and then to progress through the game on your own without being carried by your friends. And no, I'm not going to complain about you using summons or anything like that. I even use the summons the game provides, and look at me, I'm not that bad when I invaded. So, you know, play solo from time to time and lose the fear of the game and that evil red phantom. I've got a few tips in a previous video that might be useful for you. So once you finish watching this one, go check it out. Try other weapons besides the one you always use or spam, and with all this, you'll see how little by little you'll improve and won't die as often. At least not to the less experienced evil red phantoms. Look! Spamming attacks might sound cool, especially when it works against the artificial intelligence, but in invasions it's a whole different ballgame. When you're up against players who know what they're doing, that tactic becomes super easy for them to counter. Facing humans means you need to be adaptable and manage your stamina well. Keeping a little stamina in the tank lets you react quickly to dodge or launch a surprise attack when they least expect it. Plus, learning to bait your opponents into spamming can give you the chance to capitalize on their mistakes. Another thing you can do is try out different weapon arts. Each weapon has unique skills that can turn the tide of a fight if you use them wisely. So, explore, use less conventional weapons to surprise those players who always expect the same moves. And don't forget to experiment with different types of damage like magic or status effects. Poison or bleed, for example, put pressure on the enemy passively, giving you some breathing room to maneuver without having to attack all the time. Oh yeah, it can be quite intimidating to see those players who move around frenetically, crouching and uncrouching. Honestly, even I get scared when I run into them, but don't get frustrated and do not panic. A lot of people, when they see the more try-hard players start doing what I mentioned before, begin to panic roll. This is a big mistake. The only thing you're doing is making it extremely easy for the other player to roll catch you. I know it's easier said than done, but seriously, try to stay calm. If you panic and make the mistake of panic rolling or spamming the attack button, you'll only become a very predictable player, and that won't help if you want to beat that evil red phantom. If you want to win, you need to be unpredictable. You can't always win at everything, so don't worry if you lose. And please, if you lose the invasion, or if all your summoned friends are defeated, don't quit the game. It's much faster to just wait to respawn and summon your friends again. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, there's a cooldown on invasions for about 15 minutes, which won't apply if you close the game abruptly. Remember, another thing that can give you more confidence when being invaded is the amount of vigor you have. Having a big long health bar will let you tank more hits and trade a lot more attacks with your enemy, giving you more chances to win. That, and the poise you have from your armor, will also allow you to trade hits. If you combine a good amount of vigor with a solid amount of poise, most of the time the trade will go in your favor. Especially if you're using a weapon that deals more poise damage than the poise your opponent has. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, here's a video by Illusory Wall that explains it much better than I ever could.
Which isn't only for PvP, technically, as it applies to NPCs who are built like the player character, and of course it applies to you.
In invasions, knowing how to handle fear is key, and avoiding panic rolling is just the start. One trick that can help is what some players call calm aggression. This means keeping pressure on your opponent without getting hit. Learning to control the distance between you and the enemy gives you more time to react without rolling all over the place. If you're too close to an aggressive enemy, it's easy to fall into the habit of rolling without thinking. Staying at medium distance lets you watch their movements and choose better moments to attack or dodge. You can also alternate between blocking and dodging. A lot of players go overboard and roll too much when the best option is to block a bit to mitigate damage. This helps save stamina and keeps you from getting caught in a roll catch. Practicing with medium or large shields to block attacks and rolling only at critical moments can be a solid move, especially against players who expect you to roll constantly. And keep in mind that maintaining a good balance between vigor and poise can make a difference in high-pressure situations. If you've got a good amount of vigor, you can afford to trade blows without stressing too much, which helps calm those nerves during an invasion. Why should you follow this advice? I don't know, you're free to do whatever you want. I just make my videos with the intention of giving newer or less experienced players a chance to improve little by little. I feel like I always end up rambling a lot, and I apologize for that. I still need to learn how to write better and focus my ideas, but I think I managed to get the basics across. Now, putting my philosophical moment aside, I've noticed that a lot of people in Seamless Co-op end up kicking the invader out of their worlds. I get that they don't like invasions, but dude, there's a super simple way to disable them. You just go to the Seamless Co-op folder you dragged when you downloaded the mod and open the .ini file. It's literally the first option. You just need to change a 1 to a 0. Well, look how much time we've spent. This video is coming to an end. I hope you enjoyed this. Weird thing. If you want to keep seeing more videos like this or any other type of video, don't hesitate to leave your suggestions in the comments. Thanks again for the amazing reach the last video had. And well, I'll see you in the next class.